Hello to everyone looking for inspirational tips for this new year. Then great, we have those for you today on the Business of Life Masterclass podcast, the show for people who thrive on opportunities and drive to get results, seek input and ideas to quickly incorporate in life and in business. Barb Zant here, media sales leader and founder of the lifestyle brand and blog Stay at Work Mom.
Hi, everyone. It's Debbie Lundberg, performance and mindset coach with Presenting Powerfully. So, Barb, what a great last quarter we had. Now, we took a little bit of time off and we really didn't tell our life learners that. So, thanks everybody for sticking with us. We took that time off from Thanksgiving through the end of the year because of a lot of opportunities and challenges that came up. But things are really in a good place for us to reflect on the fourth quarter. So, we had Dennis Harden, we had Chris Carlo, Renee Scott, and Amy Burton. So we had powerhouses, and we certainly learned a lot with them and had some fun with those follow-throughs. So I know you usually look at what the themes are. So what themes did you see, and see if we came up with the same ones?
How cool. We are at 284 episodes, but blink of an eye, we're going to be at 300. So some of the themes and the trends, water continues. And I always wonder if it's because I'm seeing that because that's where I'm at. But I think three or of the four of the guests brought that up. Community, which I love. And me and you both really love that community aspect. And then tracking. There was track time, what we're doing with the time, how we're feeling, and the foods we eat. So there was a lot of tracking as well.
So I had those, and then I also had education or learning.
Oh, yeah.
Really, like Dennis was even talking about learning how much people love to follow the dogs and how it was such an experiment and experience for him to create that and to really have an outlet. And that was my other one, was like learning in different outlets. So you're right, because Dennis told us about that. And I mean, he's just tremendously positive. He loves to connect people. And that's really similar with Chris Carlo. Love to connect people. And he was talking about feelings and where he was with things. And he was a really fun one that we'd wanted to have on long ago. And somehow, shame on me, I somehow missed keeping him on the list. And then when we were able to have Ricky on, and Ricky and I have both been mentors, or Chris and I had both been mentors to Ricky. So it was just so ironic. And then we got into that with Chris about AI and all of the changes and how you can really still be mindful of being present. So I think if I had three different ones from yours, it'd probably be education and the connection and the mindfulness of what we're doing. And they do tie really nicely to yours.
Absolutely.
And then really, with Renee, she was all about, like you said, community and how you can pull in, two or three people in your community and create a different community that gives you really good feedback. And we haven't really reported back on that. And yet we've been doing that. And that was a little bit of what we did on our own, on our small, slight hiatus, was getting some feedback from people and seeing if we could tweak things anymore. Valerie Boy, the reporter, she'd given us feedback a long time ago that we implemented. And then we asked our Tune In and Tune Up group, because a lot of them have been on the show, for some feedback. So we'll tell the life learners now that we don't have a lot of big changes coming up for 2026. We have tremendous guests. We already have 8 shows lined up, which we're excited about, which will put us almost to that 300. And then the idea that Renee said, I noticed she put on our social media, let her know when we start that. So I'll let her know that we asked our group, and it's more than 3 people. So we tend to go a little bigger with that. And then certainly with Amy Burton, with the focus on faith and fitness and tracking foods and tracking water, like you started with, boy, they all sent us on a path of self-reflection. I think if there was another theme for this fourth quarter, it was, how are we showing up for ourselves and others? There was that, if you want to be there, be there. If you don't, then don't be there. I mean, I'm using my own words, but they certainly all live by that. And I'd say Amy's got some exciting things coming out that didn't come out while the show was on, and we released her follow through. So when that happens, we certainly will. And I suspect Chris Carlo is going to have a few things. How about you? What are you thinking on that side?
Well, I love that, and it all ties in. And the community is just really big for me, and we did some things together. And Amy Burton also had a get together with her 3D health group, and we went to that together on a Sunday. And then just the community and sharing about the water. I think you encouraged somebody else to join in on the water challenge that we were having, as and I think maybe even with the saunas that we were doing, and staying hydrated. And then, being that forever learner, that whole theme speaks to me and has spoke to me. And even doing the homework for our follow through, I was inspired all over again, listening to our episodes and everything that we've accomplished and everything that we've added to our own morning routines, just from the guests that we had on in fourth quarter, is life changing.
Well, yes, and it's really funny that as we rolled through the fourth quarter and we did some of the sauna cold plunge, which came from Ryan Halo, and then we talked about the water, and Betsy Irizarry, who was on the show, has joined in on the water. And I did check with her before we're recording this. I specifically called her and asked if she was keeping up the water, and she said absolutely. What was funny is I saw Jen cook, and we were talking about the cloves, and she said, I love that you all tried it. I said, except it didn't stick for Barb and me, and she still does it and she still loves it. And somebody else who was around us said she was going to incorporate cloves. So they don't always stick with us, and it doesn't mean it's not a successful, wonderful thing for many. Now, here's something that's come up. A couple of people, and I got a note in the mail, shared that they're listening to or reading the Daily Stoic. And so that came from Lauren Thomas Compton way back.
Mhm.
And, we still are hoping to have Sandy Thomas on, her mom, because her mom just has a tremendous perspective on leadership and books. So we definitely have our wish list for more guests who we have coming up. And as I said, we already have 8 shows lined up. So we'll be getting very close to that 300, and we'll want certainly a very special guest for that 300th, just like we had Gail Guayardo for our 250th. And we're looking forward to certainly having some more celebrations and another masterclass, because we had the breathing with Suzanne. We had Amy Burton's. We considered that when we had her as the masterclass, when she did that with amazing food and exercise. And so we have been able to have a few of those master classes, and I'm sure there are many more to come. So what would you say is the one thing that really you took out of the fourth quarter?
Community. That was my biggest takeaways with all, because honestly, it talks to every single thing that
Mm-hmm.
we implemented or not. And for me, I couldn't do this alone.
That's a really good point. And even though I wasn't going to say community, I absolutely love yours. So I'll push for something different, because I agree with you on community. And I really think it is showing up as you want to show up. And I think part of it was so impressive that it's men and women, and it's a variety of ages, and it's a variety of industries, and
Yep.
they're not always the things that I was anticipating people might say, even though we've known them professionally or personally or both, or known them in the community, to go back to your word, that it's so wonderful that people are doing this terrific planning for the show, so that all us and our life learner listeners, who we appreciate so much, we get a ton out of it. And I was thinking about that yesterday when I was doing the push-ups, and I'm thinking, here's my 100 push-ups from Dr. Ron O'Neill from back in
Years
season 1
ago.
and 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, we keep it going. Well, I know we love and appreciate the energy and the information from Q4 of 2025, and how exciting it is to be doing it together again in 2026.
Yes. Thank you, all of our listeners and our viewers, for tuning in for our fourth quarter rewind, our recap of everything that we did on the Business of Life Masterclass podcast. You can follow Debbie and me on Instagram and Facebook at the Business of Life Masterclass, me on Instagram at the Stay at Work Mom, And Debbie Lundberg is Debbie Lundberg everywhere. If you like what you heard, please download more, subscribe for future updates, and share, share, share. We are committed to providing you with 5-star guests, so we'd love a 5-star rating for inspiration. We appreciate your spending time with us on the podcast for successful people, embracing every chance to accomplish and experience all you can in business and in life.
Listen, choose, do. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have ever thought, gosh, I'd like a collaborator, I wonder what else I could do, it's likely that the answer is a coach. Hi, I'm Debbie Lundberg, Performance and Mindset Coach with Presenting Powerfully. And if you would like confidential coaching to drive you to the next idea, the next role, or even to figure out your own brand, please reach out to us at Presenting Powerfully, 813-494-4438. Thank you.